Hello everybody, welcome to today's presentation. Today we'll be going through introduction to 3D printing, exploring the basics and application of 3D printing. What is 3D printing? 3D printing, also known as additive manufacturing, is a process of creating three-dimensional objects from a digital file. It involves layering materials such as plastics, metal, or resin to build an object from the ground up. So this is to imply that a file containing the image is created and then it is converted to the actual image using either plastics, metals, or resin, using any technological device which is capable of doing so. 3D printing has a history which dates back to the 1980s with the invention of stereolithography by Charles Hall. Since then, various technologies have emerged, including the fused deposition modeling, that's FDM, and selective laser sintering, SLS. Now, how does 3D printing work? 3D printing starts with creating a 3D model using a computer-aided design software, that's a CAD software. The model is then sliced into thin layers and the printer deposits materials layer by layer to form the final object. Meaning, say you need to create a ball, a 3D ball. The computer slices it into layers and then the machine deposits it layer by layer. That's whatever machine you may be using, whether a laser or whatever it may be, will deposit it layer by layer until the final object is obtained. Types of types of 3D printing technology. There are several 3D printing technologies, including the stereolithography, that's SLA, fused deposition modeling, FDM, selective laser sintering, that's SLS, and digital light processing, DLP, and finally the multi-jet fusion, MJF. Materials used in 3D printing vary depending on the technology used. Common materials are plastics, that's PLA, ABS, PETG. Then we have metals such as titanium, aluminium, and stainless steel. You can also use resin, ceramics, or composites. As I said, it's depending on the type of technology that will be used. Advantages of 3D printing. 3D printing offers numerous advantages, including rapid prototyping and production, customization and personalization, reduced waste and material usage, and cost effectiveness for small production runs. So we can have a prototype such as the one displayed on the slide right now. So 3D printing will help you to easily produce this prototype without wasting much materials, and it's also fast. So rapid prototyping, yes, it is fast and you can do it so easily without stressing much or wasting so much resources. So 3D printing, however, comes with certain challenges. So despite its advantages, it faces several challenges which include limited material availability, high initial cost for industrial machines, the speed and scalability issues, and post-processing requirements. So with 3D printing, you definitely need these laser machines or whatever machine you might use depending on the type of 3D object you want to produce or the material you want to use. So the cost involved in acquiring these machines is a disadvantage because these machines are really expensive, and the speed and scalability of these items that you want to produce can be an issue during the production process and post-production requirements. That includes the finishing of the product, the exhibition, all that, and sale. So post-production requirements, especially when it comes to the finishing of the product, can be very difficult for 3D printing. Application of 3D printing. 3D printing has a wide range of applications. It includes the medical and dental side, that's prosthetics and implants. Then we can also go to the aerospace and automotive. That includes the parts and components. And we can have consumer products like toys, gadgets, and all that. Yes, so your toys are basically made not only by melting plastics and making them into forms. You can also have some of your 3D objects, 3D toys, such as your blocks and all that you use. You can also have 3D printing applied in architecture and construction. So you can use 3D printing to produce models of houses or buildings that you want to bring up as an architect. So the use of 3D is very varied, which makes it very important and very versatile in our world today. So for 3D printing in medicine, 3D printing is used to create customized prosthetics, implants, and even organ modules for surgical planning. An example is the 3D heart displayed on the slide right now, so you can use that as a reference. Then we have bioprinting, which is an emerging field that aims in printing functional human tissues and organs. So still the example being the heart displayed on the screen. Yes. So when we come to aerospace, the utilization of 3D printing to produce lightweight and complex parts is one thing that you cannot really ignore. This technology enables the creation of components that are difficult or impossible to manufacture using traditional methods. So for example, this crystal-like thing that's being lasered right now, you cannot easily produce it by your traditional methods of maybe melting or bending or binding. You definitely need a 3D object to produce that kind of detailed effect that you want, especially if you are using it in probably a rocket or an aerospace machine. 3D printing in education. So increasingly, 3D is being used in educational settings to enhance learning and creativity. Students can design and print their own models, fostering hands-on experience in designing and engineering. So for an engineering student, the ideal way of you being able to conceptualize and appreciate what you are being taught in class, the theory that are being taught in class, can be acquired with the use of 3D printing. The future of 3D printing looks promising with advancements in materials, speed, and capabilities. Potential developments include the expansion of 3D printing in the construction industry and possibly for 3D printed foods. Yes, it sounds very unrealistic, but then this is the future of 3D printing as at now. in the next few years we should be able to produce 3D printed foods or foodstuffs. So you will not necessarily be able to eat these things, but then they are just models of what you would find in your restaurants and kitchens. Sustainability and 3D printing. 3D printing can contribute to sustainability by reducing waste and enabling localized production. It can also allow for the recycling of materials which can be used in the production of new objects. As initially stated, for 3D printing, you can use whether metals, resin, plastics, whatever it may be. So the issue of waste reduction can also be curbed with the use of 3D printing, where these waste materials are recycled to 3D objects which are more beneficial for us. In conclusion, 3D printing is a revolutionary technology with far-reaching implications across various industries as it continues to evolve. As mentioned before, we can have 3D printing in the medical field, we can have it in the aerospace field, we can have it in education, we can have it in so many other fields that are not covered in this slide or presentation. So I hope that you've this brings us to the end of our presentation. Thank you all for staying tuned, and I hope to see you in our next presentation. Thank you.